Gus, Siyi, why don't you tell me who you are and what you're currently doing with your lives?
I'm Gus. I'm married to Siyi. We've got 2 kids, a boy, Eli, who's 2+ years old, and a daughter, baby Noah, who's 6 months. I'm currently working in a bank, and my team invests in private markets, real estate.
I'm Siyi and I'm 30 this year. I used to work at a local bank, and last year, 2020, Noah was born, so now I take care of both of them full-time.
What has happiness meant to you guys, and what has been your experience of pursuing it?
I didn't have a good grasp of what being happy really meant because it was very tangled up in wanting approval and validation and love and acceptance from other people. So I think what I did a lot of the time was pursue what society told me would make me happy. So as a girl, I put a lot of emphasis on looking good or trying to look good, on getting good grades, and then studying something that people would would respect and admire, and get a good job, find a boyfriend, be popular, party a lot. Fundamentally, what I was searching for was to be somebody that people thought was worth having as a friend or companion, somebody worth admiring or respecting, and I thought those things would make me happy. But I think my experience over time was that at some juncture, these things would fail me. They'd stop giving me the approval that I was seeking. When these things started to fail, I found myself buying into the narrative of loving myself, putting myself first, accepting myself for who I am. But that also fell short eventually. I didn't feel like I was worthy of, even loving myself. And ultimately, that there was a sadness or an emptiness that I just could not feel from within, and that the world could not give me.
I think for me, generally in my teenage and young adult years, the best way I thought that I could be happy was if I had real freedom for myself. So just a freedom to live my life exactly the way I wanted to live it. And so it brought me some temporal happiness, but I think year after year, generally, I still felt empty. I didn't feel a real lasting happiness, although I thought that if I just achieved the next step, I'd be fulfilled, but I really wasn't. In reality, I just really wanted to be loved by people. And so what I tried to do was be the kind of person, or be the Gus that I thought the different groups wanted me to be. And I think that was sort of frustrating and sort of difficult for me, because it meant constantly having to change myself or change my preferences to suit different people that I was hanging out with. So that really, it was frustrating and not a great place to be.
You ended up taking a left turn. You've both become Christians. So why don't you share a little bit about the difference that has made to the pursuit of happiness for you?
I think becoming a Christian, I learned that happiness cannot come from myself and it cannot come from the world. But I really found all the love and the approval and the validation that I was seeking in the message of Jesus. Jesus not only liked me, he loved me, and he died for me and for my sins, and he chose to forgive me. He did all these things knowing the brokenness that was inside of me, knowing the insecurity that I had, knowing all my sinfulness, and he still chose to give up his life for me. And so I think I finally felt like I was free from the judgment of society and from myself to really live as God wanted me to live. And I think there were definitely costs and sacrifices that came with being a Christian, and God didn't let me continue living in my sin. But these sacrifices, these are things that I found worth giving up because of the joy that Jesus brought me, and because of what's waiting for me in eternity.
In a sense, I felt a bit of a relief that I no longer had to put up a facade of being the Gus that everyone wanted me to be. I think being able to come to a God who knows how ugly I am, he knows everything I've done. There's a God there that could forgive me, and he could love me for who I am, despite the mistakes I've made. I think that brought me real relief.
Have there been any surprises?
Yeah, I think maybe people have the idea that if you're a Christian, oh yeah, you have joy in Jesus, you're happy all day long. And I just didn't find that to be true. It's not like we're going around with a smile on our face all the time, we're positive all the time. In the Christian life, I think there is still suffering, and there's still struggle, and there's still hardships. And we definitely go through those things. But what has surprised me, I think, is that I always know that there is hope there's peace at the end of my sadness or at the end of my anger and my frustration. There's always something that I can come back to. When I feel like, I'm in grieving and all these emotions are running high, at the end of it, I know I can be content and I can be at peace because of what I have in Jesus.
I came to a point where I knew I could not continue living my life how I wanted to live it. And I think I was a little bit hesitant to give up what I thought to be my freedom to do what I wanted to do, because I thought that would be giving up what would make me happy. And I think eventually I decided to jump in. And to my surprise, actually, giving up my own desires did make me happier.
What would you say to others who might be able to relate to some of your experience and are wondering where to go next?
Yep, I think if anything resonated, anything I said resonated with anybody today, I think what I would say is to at least give it a look, give Christianity a look, give Jesus and the God of the Bible a look. Because I think everyone wants to be happy. No one wants to be unhappy. And I think if there's someone who claims to be a God, who has on offer real life, real meaningful life, and who claims to love us and who wants a relationship with us, I think that's an incredible offer. And so I think if it was true, it'd be at least worth a look.